Hi, I'm Dr. Go, and if you're new to my videos, I've been a professional violinist for almost 30 years. Everything from a full-time professional orchestra player to soloist to teacher, associate professor at one point, chamber musician, conductor, and many other things in music. I hope this series of 5 videos will have something for each and every one of you that view this video that may help your artistry. And for those who are experienced violinists, I hope this gives you new insight or a new license to try things maybe you thought maybe were not correct. So all the best, and my heartfelt best wishes to all of you. Cheers. This is the first of a 5 video series on how to put emotions into music. Some of my students have come to me and asked, well, Dr. Go, could you please just tell us what sounds to make? I told them, no, it doesn't come from your teacher. This comes from your own sense of expression. So this is a 5 video series that I'm going to do on how to try to put your own ideas into your music the way you see fit. By no means an in-depth study. It's just a discussion on some things that might help. So the first step I'd like to discuss today is assigning emotions. When you first hear a piece, just decide what type of feeling do you think this piece should have before you start working on it. Now, that idea can change, and it should change. As an artist, one of our rights is to change our minds on what we're doing in order to best fit the situation. So go ahead, make an idea of what you'd like the piece to be about. Then start looking section by section. How should each section make you feel as an artist? And what do you think it should make the audience feel? What's the composer's intention? Then go deeper, go phrase by phrase. Maybe there's a certain feeling. People feel music in different ways. Some people taste it, some people feel it, some people get goosebumps. Everybody feels it a little bit differently. I'm one of those that I can actually taste and feel the texture in my mouth of each piece of music that I'm listening to. So however you feel, go phrase by phrase and see what type of feeling you think that phrase should have, and then start trying to make the sound that elicits that response from yourself. If you can't convince yourself, there's no way you're going to convince your audience. So start with that and go phrase by phrase. Once you have your phrases all worked out, start looking. Maybe there are little parts of certain phrases that you can slightly alter in order to bring out your idea more. Now, the next thing that you should be doing is looking at the chord analysis and the arrival points. Every new piece, if you're not used to taking a piece apart, go ahead and analyze the chords. Look at the transition points between certain sections as dictated by the chords. These, I call them arrival points, but you can call them cadences and such. The correct term is actually cadences. And start deciding how you want to treat each cadence or arrival point. Maybe it's just a transition. So try to start looking at these arrival points and seeing what you would like to do in order to tell the story of the entire piece. Always keep the pacing of the entire piece in mind. Yes? Okay. Now the next thing to look at is the history. Maybe there's a story to the piece and any other contributing factors. For example, the Tchaikovsky Violin Concerto. We know in the libraries, the university libraries, that we have a lot of Tchaikovsky's letters, and so it's not that difficult to go and read those letters and decipher what he may have been thinking during the time that he wrote this concerto and the factors that led up to it, from his divorce to his time in Clarence. So once you can find that history, it begins to paint a picture of what the piece might be about, or the influences that affected the piece. Rarely do we get a 100% clear picture of what a deceased composer meant for their piece. It's very rare. That's why if you get a chance to work with a live composer on their works, take it. It'll give you a new insight on how composers approach their pieces and what each piece means to that composer. So that being said, take a look at the history. Maybe there's a story in the mind of the composer that needs to come through. Maybe it's just a whole set of emotions the composer was feeling and there is no story to it. And it's up to us to make our own story on this and share that with the audience. So go ahead, do those things, and then go back to the beginning. Start looking. Did I assign the correct emotions to this piece? Was my feel correct? Always be willing to go back and take another look through and change your mind if you will, if you need, if you must. The chord analysis, it's either you're correct or you're incorrect. It's always good to check your work. It's not a test. It's just to give you an idea of what's going on in the piecing, how the composer put the piece together, so you can see the building blocks and decide how you wish to approach this piece. I would just like to add one thing. I believe it was Debussy who said music is the space between the notes. If you remember that, and you can remember that music is the manipulation of energy, look at the form of the piece you're approaching. Apply those ideas to certain magic will suddenly jump out of the page at you. And this is a beautiful, wonderful thing. Once that happens, really write down your ideas and start working on the piece. It's an amazing and rewarding experience, and I really hope everybody gets to experience the magic of unlocking a piece for themselves. Cheers and all the best to all of you on this amazing journey on our wonderful instrument, the violin. Cheers.